The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Scout 6316, 8.8 for 6,000. Scout 6316, North Approach, going to maintain 3,000, I'm 1 for the right. 3,000, Scout 6316. Redwood.
Out here we call them headaches or migraines. But I gave her the night off, so unfortunately, you are stuck with me. And yes, I am broadcasting from my little log cabin on the 13th floor of the Spaced Out Radio Network here in the paranormal portals of the lower left Canadian coast, down in the Pacific Northwest, Cascadia, just a hop, skip, and a jump above Washington State, the land of Skeeter Welhouse. And I want to thank everybody who are tuning in on the High Plains Talk Radio Network out of, that really cool place. That High Plains. I always say High Plains, but it's really cool. I love that. I love Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas and United Public Radio out of New Orleans at 107.7 FM. Those listening to us on TalkStream Live, Stitcher, and I think Dave has hooked us up to Radio Guide FM. And again, coming soon, you know what? I don't know when it's coming, but a terrestrial radio at WQEE 99 FM Atlanta. But for the rest of us, we are on extraterrestrial radio. You can follow me, if you'd like, on Twitter at James Tyson, SOR. Go to my Facebook pages, Spaced Out Radio Show. Well, that's kind of the whole thing. And Spaced Out Weekend for me. On Instagram, you can follow me at Spaced Out Weekend. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the same thing at iTunes and tune in. And please, those of you who are taking part out there in our chat rooms, I'm probably not going to get to Twitter tonight because it's a little too hectic for me. I am monitoring our chat room on Spreaker, our main carrier. And for those of you over on our chat room at SOR Space Travelers Club, bear with me. I'm still in Facebook jail until March 4th at 6 p.m. or something like that because I sent too many invites out, even though there are 4 the pages that I do own, which they still won't give me access to. So Mark Zuckerberg, I'm calling you Zuckerbird because you're just flighty when it comes to these things. It's I've been sending you messages, but you're just not getting back to me. Just not getting back to me at all. But tonight, in lieu of the under the weather Elizabeth Anglin, we have brought Skeeter Welhouse in a tad early. Now, you know Skeeter from doing mediumship readings on Two Mediums and a Large at least once a month. And you know her from what's going to happen later on the shift. So Skeeter is in right now. And if you want a psychic reading from Skeeter, and every so often I'm either hearing her shuffle her cards, or she may have a little bit of, I don't know if you maybe ate too much cabbage and Brussels sprouts, but who knows? I don't exactly know what's going on with that. But if you want to give her a shout, you can call us at 575-694-6634. Again, that's oh, bless you. 575-694-6634. Give me a shout on, let's see, I was going to say Instagram almost, but that won't help. Give me a shout on my Skype account at James_Tyson32. Again, James_Tyson32. For those of you who are up way too early on a Monday morning in the UK and through Western Europe, and for those of you down under on a wonderful Monday afternoon, I really hope the weather's doing a little bit better. You're going to get some cooling off down in Australia. You guys just about burst into flame. But those are the best ways for you to get a hold of me, so you don't have to enter all those crazy country codes on the phone number. Again, that's Skype at James_Tyson, Tyson 32. Skeeter, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I are fine. I went to a Kunlun yoga, not as you were, meditation today. I perspired to the point that I thought I was going to die. My entire body was shaking. We did all these cool moves and stuff that I'm not supposed to talk about. And yeah, it was just amazing. And I went out and ate and came home and slept for 3 hours. So I don't know if I was supposed to. I probably was supposed to get out and like start grabbing energy and moving a little bit better. But oh man, that was a beating, an absolute beating. I'd like to thank one of the girls from my paranormal group, the Canadian Paranormal Society, Ashley Cousteau, for dragging my lard butt out there and beating on me. But yeah, it was good. It was a good event. It was a good adventure. Met some really good people. Imagine having a room full of empaths. And for those out there who usually don't see a room full of empaths, most of them were guys, which is amazing.
Kidding.
Yeah, it was. I think there were 4 women and out of the 13 of us, 14 of us, including the instructor.
Wow.
So if you're an empath woman, go there. Pick a husband. They're all pretty cool guys. Yeah. Hold on. So you have we have another lady coming on with us tonight, Gabrielle, who also had a issue with her because she's clairvoyant. She saw what's coming up on the shift and ended up moving from the second largest island in the Pacific Ocean to the mainland of Canada to get away from what's coming. So that's going to be interesting coming up in an hour to talk to the two of you and compare the information you're getting. But right now on our show, we do have a caller. Caller at the 315 area code. Go ahead for Skeeter.
Hi, Skeeter. How are you?
Good. How are you? Who is this?
My name is Judy.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
Hi, Skeeter. I'm on the Eastern Coast.
Okay, we'll go fast so you can get back to bed.
I just got out of work. I'm wide awake.
Okay, good. Which, whereabouts are you?
I'm in New York State.
New York State.
Oh,
very good. That's the Skeeter's cards.
Yeah, I'm upstate. I'm upstate New York.
Very cool. Okay, Skeeter, do your thing.
So did you have a specific question, or do you want me to just throw the cards to the wind and see where they land?
Oh, I have lots going on, Skeeter. I'm currently in a court issue, and I don't know if you want me to give you any more information.
No, don't give me too much more, because there's some privacy issues related to the court case that you don't want to let out. In fact, ironically, the first card I pulled up is about privacy and watching your words as you're going through this. Have you been reassessing your strategy on how to handle this?
Absolutely.
I would follow that gut instinct. The best I can see, and please note that I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not.
I understand
that allowed to give legal advice, but I can tell you that the path that you were taking before, where you were kind of less, where you were kind of sitting back and allowing the process to happen, counting on others to guide you and show you the right path, hasn't really paid off for you, has it?
No, I'm not happy with my attorney.
Is
that what you're pertaining to?
Yeah. That basically whoever was leading you was not leading you well.
Right.
Also, you need to take a more... He was having you in a passive position.
Yes. You're very good, Skeeter.
You need to take a more forward position.
That's what I'm trying to do now, but I'm unclear on what to do. So the one path that I'm taking is another direction in another court, and I've been waiting 6 weeks to hear from him, and I was supposed to hear from him a month ago. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I've been basically doing things on my own.
Yeah, I got the solitude thing. Spirit is asking me a question real quick, and I'm trying to get clarification. The image that came up along with this is a wolf. And one of the big issues with the case that you're in, I apologize if I'm wrong, is you weren't fully educated on what was happening. That's why things were allowed to escalate the way they were. And you're
Right.
still kind of out of the loop. That's why things are still progressing out of the way they are.
Exactly.
Instead of focusing so much on trying to find the next best person to help you, you really need to step back and start educating yourself on what did happen, on why you weren't fully educated. And this way you can better approach a lawyer and explain, I was told A, I only understood A. There turns out there was a whole lot more to it. I have gone back and I've educated myself on this now. And I'm now ready to learn more and help you move my case forward. Does that make sense?
I'm in the process of doing that now, where that makes total sense. But does that mean I have to hire another attorney?
I think, out of all honesty, the attorney you have now has been really patient with you, and he's been really patient with the system. The problem is that there's not enough knowledge to really push it forward yet. I'm almost hearing like it's a he says, she says type situation, and there's not enough fact yet to back up the he said or she said. And what needs to be done is this education, this searching for knowledge and understanding, so that you can better back up whatever it is that you're on the he said, she said.
So I'm going to go ahead and file my paperwork. I have that in the works right now to file paperwork with a different court to dig deeper into the matter.
Just be sure you follow your heart and not your pride on this, okay? That's the biggest warning that I'm getting off of this.
I understand that too, Skeeter. It's a mess. And I'm really going to pray on that. And you've been really good. Can I ask another question?
You may.
One more question.
Yep.
What about my living conditions, my living stability? Will I be on my own soon?
I actually pulled several cards for you, and the next card actually kind of pertains to that. Right now, you're not in a stable place emotionally, psychologically, physically, financially.
Right.
Everything's kind of up in the air.
Exactly.
If you could find a way to take advantage of the circumstances you're in to downsize and find roots, even just the smallest little root to just hold on to and start building on, better things will come once that other stuff settles. Because right now you're feeling under attack. You don't even trust yourself because of everything that's been happening. So by taking,
it's been really hard.
Yeah, now I can see that.
It's been really hard. Now, will that take long? Do you see that progressing? I mean, like I said, we were supposed to have this settled a month ago. The judge wanted it settled within 2 weeks, and I have not heard anything from my attorney. Do you see this dragging out? It's been years.
The problem is that there's been appeals, there's been challenges to evidence, paperwork. It's been a snowball of things that they've thrown to slow down the process. That's why I was.
Thank you.
That's why I was advising you.
Slow it down. Yes.
So that's why I was telling you, kind of really need to follow your heart on this and not your pride, because you're looking at another 9 months at the least.
See, my daughter's in college, and that's the really hard part, is keeping her afloat. And
she's actually a lot stronger than you think she is. Actually force her to go ahead and start stretching those baby bird wings.
She's really doing phenomenal. I'm very blessed. I mean,
well, she's a really smart cookie, but
she's very smart.
But have her, but for the brains, grades, don't worry about that. But get her to kind of start as a human being. Have her to start trying out things as. I know it's really hard when you're going to college and you have to sometimes take on a job to help cover this, or you got to take out a student loan, or you got to kind of, get that work study. Believe me, I had fun earning my work study. But
she's been working. She works. She's up all night working.
She's handling it. So let her stretch those wings. Don't put your energy on her, and using her as an excuse is kind of where Spirit's going. They're going to come out blunt now. I was trying to be polite. They're going, don't use her as an excuse. She's doing fine. Focus more on you.
She is.
Focus on getting yourself grounded.
I got you.
The circumstances around you don't really affect her. The only reason they affect her is because she's worried about you, like a good kid would. But don't let yourself become distracted by her. Focus on downsizing a bit, focusing in on taking care of yourself.
I've been kind of forced to do that. She's taken on a burden. She's starting to, because I've needed the help to help her, and that's what the whole matter is because this legal matter that I'm going through is trying to get some financial relief, which we're legally due, but the money's been hid on the other side. So now it's trying to prove that. And if I could get released, because her college is very expensive. But we're doing it regardless. So yeah, you're right. We're doing it. We're making it work. So I'm blessed in that matter.
I got a quick question for you about the financial stuff.
Okay.
The card that's kind of leaning towards that, it's tied to something that's a little toxic for you. That's why it's becoming more of an ego issue. Because you're not going to have it anymore. How dare they throw this final stone at you? Reevaluate and make sure, is this really what's in my best interest? Is it worth it? Just be aware that these are the circumstances. I'm not telling you to drop the lawsuit. If there's money, believe me, I'm like, go for it. But
no, well, legally.
Well, don't give too much information because you don't want to affect the case.
No, I'm not going to affect, but legally, there's been misdoings by higher ups, and because I have not been able to afford an attorney, they just figured that they'd get away with it, and justifiably, I want to say legally, by law, what has happened is not legal. And now
don't go too much further into it. I want to stop you right here. I apologize. One of the things that's happened is that they are looking. This is going back into that ego situation that that I was talking about earlier. This is kind of it's a big guy stepping on a little guy. It's a really toxic situation, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Take it and educate yourself on everything about this, about what it was, and don't just Google it. Actually go to a library. Ask the librarian about books on this subject. One of my favorite things to do when I need to learn something at the library is go up to the librarian and go, listen, I am really dumb. Talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old and help me find information on this subject. And the next thing I know, I have 100 books on my table. It is awesome. You need to educate yourself a little bit better so that you know that your lawyer is representing you in the most successful way possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't believe that's happening.
That's because you haven't taken the time to really educate yourself on what to do and how to handle it. You just know I've been done wrong and I want it done right.
Right. That's how I do know, Skeeter. You're absolutely right.
So
you're absolutely right.
So take the time. Libraries are free. God love them.
I got you. I will take the time, Skeeter. Thank you so much. You're phenomenal.
Oh, thank you, hon.
I really appreciate it, and I, give me the kickstart. I really don't want to hear it go on another 9 months, but if that's what has to happen, it's what it's got to happen. So,
yep. And just think about it. In that 9 months, you've got time to educate yourself. So think about it. You take a couple months to educate yourself. You get yourself in line, and then boom, things start happening. I can't tell you the end result, but I can tell you in the end, you are going to be a much better person for it.
Yeah, thank you. I already know I am. I've come a long way. It's been a long road. But, I should still file that other suit. Is that right? Or is that my ego?
Educate yourself first. Make sure that you know exactly how they did wrong, so that if you do file another suit, you understand what you're filing it about.
Well, I do have all the paperwork on that. I did go and get legal papers. I have backup. I mean, I have backup.
But take the time to educate yourself on what you're filling out. I mean, it's easy to fill out a form, and it's easy to say, I got wrong and they did wrong. But make sure you understand the details. Librarians are fantastic. You're in New York. There are swarms of amazing libraries all throughout that state. And also, if you check with your library to see if they're tied into where they can borrow books from throughout the state or within the county. And you can also ask your library if you can actually borrow books from the National Library. So see what programs they have to help you educate yourself. That way, next time you file something, even if it doesn't end up in the money, you're at least successful and you're educated and you know better for next time.
And I don't know how it works in the United States, but here in Canada, I can go to the courthouse and I have access to the court library because it's public. It's a public building, and every citizen of the country has the right to defend themselves, and therefore those libraries are open to the public. But not too many people know about that.
I'll look into that. I have friends actually who work in the courthouse. I can look into that and
definitely
make sure when I fill out this form, because they're mailing me the form, that I'm doing it properly. And
that's perfect.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. And actually, I've been kind of backing off from doing it because I don't know why, but I'm like, it's a heaviness on me. And I'm confused about the ego thing, but it is kind of the ego thing. But then it's more of I'm justifiably due what's owed to me.
Well, the thing about ego is ego is preservation of self. That's strictly what ego is: preservation of self.
Okay.
When you're preserving yourself, there can be several ways to do it. You can either settle with the bare necessities, and that's ego. That's ego going on a lower level to where I only deserve the minimum. Then there's ego that's like, I have to have it all. And then there's ego that's, I'm in the middle. As long as ego is taking care of self, as long as we're aware of what ego is pushing us to do in order to take care of self, that's how we keep our ego in check. How much so when I tell you to be aware of ego, what I'm telling you to do is to be aware of how much you're willing to do what you think is taking care of yourself by going after this money. But in truth is, you're actually sacrificing a lot of your sleep, your nerves, your health. A lot of things are actually being sacrificed in order to preserve this. Does that make sense? I know that was a lot of words.
Yeah, it does. But in my mind, I'm doing this to keep my daughter in college, not to fight the legal battle. In my mind, I'm in my mind.
But that's still preservation of self because she's a part of you.
Okay.
That's your daughter, and gosh, what great pride as a mom to have a daughter in a great college doing great. I mean, heck, I'm moving heaven and earth for my daughter right now, so I totally get where you're coming from. But you just got to be aware how, as you educate yourself, do like James said, check out the courthouses. See if you can get help in the library there. But as you educate yourself, you'll know how far you can push this before you harm yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I gotcha.
But thank you so much, hon.
Skeeter, you're wonderful. I really appreciate this. Do you see anything else before we leave?
No.
The last thing I see is a big hug and a thank you for letting me help you.
I give you the biggest hug in the world, Skeeter. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You
And I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. This was wonderful. I so appreciate it. And I'd like to say hello to the world. And thank you so much. God bless you.
Good night,
thank
hon.
you. You have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, good dreams.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Skeeter, you're making people cry. Stop that.
You know,
that
I
was
was
really
at
nice.
I was at an event, and there were several people around me, and I had a customer sit down with me, and the lady behind me screamed, "Oh, don't sit with her! She makes people cry." I felt so horrid,
Right.
but I got to keep my Kleenex stock up, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to a 604 phone number now. Hi, who's this?
Hi, this is Brittany.
Hello, Brittany.
Hi.
How the dickens are you?
Good.
Skeeter?
Had a beautiful
Brittany?
day today.
Brittany, Skeeter. Brittany
Hello.
was
Nice to
in
meet
this meditation thing I was in, and probably doesn't hurt as much. Brittany, I came home. I went up and grabbed something to eat, came home, slept for 3 hours. I was
wow.
completely wiped out.
I was pretty tired too, and then I bought myself a crystal necklace and then gained some energy and started to do some schoolwork. So
Oh, perfect.
I just carried on through. But yeah, it was a lot of work, those postures.
Oh, my Lord. Yes. Okay. Skeeter.
Yes. Are you ready, Brittany?
No.
Yeah.
Got Kleenex?
Kleenex brand, it's the best. No.
Yeah.
Stepping in. One of the things that I see you actually doing a lot of in your life, I'm just going to jump in because Spirit said so, is the fact that you are slowly learning to fly solo. Now, I know this may sound a little bit weird because you've kind of been doing things on your own for a while, but this is an actual test of being able to really own yourself as a woman, as an individual, as an empath, as a being of spirit. This is actually a massive transition time for you to actually be able to look at yourself and go, I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really hard thing for you to do because you've always relied on, I almost see a Scarlett O'Hara playing right now. I've always relied on the kindness of strangers. So, so you know, I know you have really good networks and really good people to help guide you and help you along. But the more you start making commitments to yourself and keeping those commitments to self about your health, about job things, about, I mean, even silly things like cleaning the toilet on a regular schedule, the more you're going to feel this power, this growth within, this ownership of self. And that's something that you've really been wanting. Is that right?
Yeah, and one of my questions was going to be, how do I start being okay with now when I still see this big gap in between of where I want to be and where I'm at? So I'm so excited now. At least I have an idea what that looks like, and I can taste it sometimes. Being on my own, like my career that's about to start soon once I'm done school, paying my own bills, I'm being able to live on my own because, I've always lived at home under my parents' place and stuff like that. So, I was just kind of, sometimes I just get ahead of myself where I need to be in right here, right now. And I'm so wanting to, I can't fully enjoy being at home right now because I'm kind of,
you're in
I didn't see myself being at this place and time, and it's just I'm ashamed of it. So then, but this is where I'm at financially, and this is where I've gotten myself to. So I need to own up to it, and it's going to happen soon. But it's just, it's been a way too long waiting. But it's I guess.
Well, you're a horse biting at the bit. I mean, you're ready to go, and it's like, dude, open the gate, let me out. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay.
It's coming. I would say probably within the next 6 months, you're going to actually start feeling that, okay, here we go. But in between now and that 6-month time period, you really need to start taking ownership of those little things. Like I said, the stupidest little things, like cleaning the toilet, will help you feel a little bit more like that. Another thing that's going through your head as you're biting the bit ready to go is that you're also kind of thinking in the back of your head, oh crap, what if I do this and I fail again? What if I can't get out the gate?
Because that's my pattern. Like, it's like an ongoing thought. It's like fear.
Well, let's own it. Let's take it.
Own it.
Imagine this in your hands. That, okay, I am getting ready to step forward, and I'm getting ready to go out on my own. And I know in the past I have done A, B, D, X, Z, and W. I'm going to own that. If I own this, if I know this is going to happen, it's just take a deep breath, own it, step forward, and know that as long as you know not to do those things again, to actually take it step by step by step, you're going to be actually a lot more protected. The people who are holding their breaths as you take on a couple of new steps are still going to be there. They're still holding that safety net for you. So just know, don't be worried about making the same mistakes. And be aware of what is happening as you go forward. Use those past mistakes as guides. Go, okay, I did X. X failed. This feels really similar to X, so I'm going to avoid it. Your safety net is going to get stronger and stronger every time you take the time to look at what you've done in the past, compare it, and move forward. Okay? And on a final note, learning to reassess and assess what you're moving forward into. Stop being so impulsive. Stop feeling like you have to decide now. Stop feeling like it has to be now. Take the time to say, can I have a minute? Can I have 5 minutes? You're going to be put in positions as an adult where people are going to be like, do it now. Well, no, I need at least 1 minute to be allowed to think about it. And, I mean, literally, if you have to stand there in front of that person...
Are you talking about all aspects? Like, any time, like
all
if someone
aspects.
Asks, a friend asks for a favor, or my sister asks me, do you want to do this? Yeah.
All aspects. Take a minute to make sure that what you're getting yourself into. And eventually, that minute is going to turn into 30 seconds, and that 30 seconds is going to turn into 10 seconds. And eventually your mind's going to no longer have to pull on that because you're going to already have yourself trained.
So I feel that even if I had a minute, I'll still be pulled in different like just who I am, and I don't really know. Like, I try to please people, and I just wishy-washy with stuff, them. Or I hate saying no or pissing someone off. Really, so I feel like a lot of my answers are fabricated. Yeah?
There's a really important step to this. Close your eyes when you're thinking about what you need to do.
Okay.
There's a reason for this. This is a psych trick. I do it to my husband all the time. It works. What you do is that I come up to you and I go, I need you to do A, B, C, D, E, X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say, I need just a minute to make sure I can do this. Or just give me a minute to think about it. Close your eyes. Separate yourself from the situation. By not being able to see them, you know how like a cat or a kid will, they're covering their eyes and you don't exist? That's kind of like the trick here. You're closing your eyes. They don't exist. And honestly ask yourself, can I do this?
Okay.
If you honestly answer yourself, I could, but I'm probably going to screw it up, then no, you can't do it. You need to tell them, I'm not able to do this. Could I have more time? Could I have more training? Make sure you slow yourself down just enough so that you don't throw it. The growth won't happen as fast as far as the jobs go, but once you get comfortable in learning what you can and can't do and getting rid of the people pleasing, then you can start taking on challenges that you can actually learn from. Someone that I always quote quite regularly, Richard Branson, has a wonderful quote. If you don't know how to do something, say yes and learn along the way. But that's a mind shift. Right now, you're in the, I want to say yes because I want to make you happy. So we need to get you past that so that you can get to the point where you say yes because you want to learn how to do it and master it. Not because you want to make the other person happy, but because you're ready for the challenge. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So take the time to reprogram yourself. You've got at least 6 months. You've got a really good safety net. So take the time to really center in and teach yourself these important tools. And honey, you'll be taking over the world before we know it. Okay?
Yes. Awesome.
Skeeter.
And yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to see if anybody is stepping forward from her side to pass on anything.
Now
that the door's open.
There's a lady who jumped forward. She goes, I'm her grandma. It's this really cute. I wouldn't say she's short because she's a little bit taller than me.
She's short.
Thank you. I love you too.
Skeeter's only 4'8", but that's imperial. We do metric stuff here, so I have no idea what big that is. So anyway, you got somebody come forward. Good.
Yes. She's like
awesome. That's Sarah O'Quinn. My middle name, I'm named after her. She's my dad's mom.
She's saying, I know your daddy. Your daddy. I don't know why she's saying daddy. It's not like daddy. It's like daddy.
Oh.
Like with an Irish accent kind of thing?
Yeah.
She's Nova Scotia, so.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Maybe
that'll
there's
do
a bit of
an accent, yeah.
Well, that's her son, Thomas O'Quinn, so.
She says, I know he's trained you to do what I say.
Yeah.
And she snapped her fingers. I love it. She snapped her fingers. Do what I say. She says, You're my granddaughter and you should know better.
So in other words, don't listen to her dad?
Oh, I'm trying to teach him, Nanny, but he just won't listen.
She says you'll feel more relaxed if you take him out of your head. Get his voice out of your head. I guess he's the cause for a lot of your anxiety.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But get him out of your head so that you're not, because he's who you've always been trying to please. You've always been trying to please him. And you need to understand that there's a certain point where you just got to go, Dad, I love you, but this is who I am, and I'm going to try to do the best I can at who I am. So, and that's part of why you jump and say, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. And you get that anxiety, and then the anxiety attacks and the pressure, and the brain goes poof.
And I also
and
get...
your grandma says,
I'm sorry. I get that he likes it when you're living at home. Because he can control that. Yeah, he can control that.
Yeah, because he can't control my mom, right? So...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's just something I thought of as you said that, but we're getting into that. But I don't know.
She says you've got a lot of fire in you. You just need to pump it up.
Yeah.
Look at your ancestors.
Well, it's like one thing is like our family's really loud, yet we're not allowed to be loud. Like Dad would be like, like be quiet and all this stuff. And
be loud.
Yeah.
She says be loud.
So.
Be loud because, Dad, your mom said.
Yeah. Grandma said, stop it.
And have Grandma come visit Dad in Dream State and give him a lecture.
She's going to.
Yeah?
She's going.
Nice.
She's already said she's going.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Now, while we have our young friend here, could you be able to, like, this is the first time she's done this, so could you tell her anything about her spirit guides?
Because she's such a younger spirit, and because she hasn't quite learned to own herself yet, I actually see one of your spirit animals, which is a guide for you, and it's a fox. It is so goofy cute, but your spirit animal is a fox.
My spirit what?
Spirit animal guide is a fox.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I take it that resonates with you on a level.
Yeah. And I'm obsessed with wolves. So, and I was told once that my power animal was a wolf.
One of the cards
and one person
that was telling me to tell you to start owning yourself and stop letting other people pressure you. That's a wolf.
Yeah.
I wish I could put pictures on here, but unfortunately it's
People
voice.
will have to believe you.
But there is a wolf, but right now it's the fox. The others will come, but fox is here to guide you in that moving forward is important. Fox never lays still. Fox never goes, oh shoot, I missed that mouse. I'm going to lay here and lick my toes for a year. He just keeps going. He's got a lot of energy. He keeps moving forward. He doesn't really take anything overly serious. That's the other thing. Stop taking things seriously.
I'm all seriousness, and I want to try to invoke like playfulness and like have that as one of my qualities because I know it's in there. It's just
and that's your
seriousness. Yeah,
being
so serious.
I mean, Brittany, how many animals do you know jump into the air and then nose bomb into the snow to get a mouse?
Brittany, tell Skeeter what you have connected to your purse or your backpack.
Well, people call it a raccoon tail, but it's a furry tail. Some people could say it was a fox, but it's not real fur.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah. And I just say that it keeps me balanced, and it's because I'm missing my tail in this life, so I carry it around with me.
That's cool, because that makes perfectly good sense from where I'm sitting.
And I love animals, so I like learning about, say, all their qualities or what, each spirit animal has and what they bring.
Your grandma said you used to love the zoo.
Yeah.
She says you would go to the zoo. She says we could leave you at the zoo and you'd be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love animals.
Yeah, when you were saying that she's a young spirit and are you saying she doesn't have a spirit guide, or would it?
She has spirit guides, but they're waiting for their time to come into her life.
All right.
So right now she's got to learn how to to be a fox.
All right. Oh, yeah. She's a fox.
James!
Oh,
not
sorry.
that fox.
Oh, sorry. What were you talking about? Now, is her grandmother with her?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
No, she's got a grandmother who watches over her, the grandma who just came through. And there's, I almost want to say an uncle or something along those lines.
Uncle Joe passed away not too long ago.
Who's with her. And it's someone that you weren't insanely close to.
Nope, yeah, it's Uncle Joe. Yeah.
So
He had a stroke last year.
he blames you.
Yeah, I'll tell my mom that. That's my mom's side of the family.
So he's with you.
Very
I was
cool.
hoping that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had an aunt that passed too. You're
Yeah,
curious
that I
about.
was pretty.
She's looking after someone else in the family.
Okay. Just wondering if it's like one of my sisters, or you mean like could be any of my family members.
It was a
Cousins.
sibling, is what she said.
She's looking after Morgan. Morgan needs a lot of looking after. She's young and oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your grandma just said, "Don't throw stones."
Sorry. Morgan will love to hear that. Okay, awesome.
Oh, this is cool.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You're
What did-
welcome.
What did we tell you about crying? There's no crying in. And this episode is brought to you by the Kleenex Corporation
Yes.
and Windex, and by Brittany's new side job, where she will come out and clean your toilet. So, what is
Yes.
up with that? Anyway, Skeeter, couldn't you say like dust the shelf? No.
The reason is because she actually hates doing the toilet, and it's the job she passes off on her mom the most.
Excellent. Brittany, I
And
got to
I'm
tell you though,
right.
the very first time I moved out of my house,
Yeah.
I get an apartment with a buddy of mine, and about a month into the apartment, we're looking at the toilet and going, "What is that?
Yeah.
It's all gray and stuff." So I tell my mom, I said, "I think our water's screwed up. It's like the toilet, the porcelain's turning gray." And my mom looked at me and said, "What are you, nuts? You just have to clean it." And I said, "Well, our toilet never looked like that." And she just looked at me and said, "Because I cleaned the flipping toilet. That's why." So I didn't know that. It's like the miracle counter. You leave stuff all over it, and the next day it's all gone and put away.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that's magic. Until you move out on your own and realize you don't have one of those miracle counters.
No.
Okay, Brittany.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Skeeter. That was good. Because actually, Brittany and I talked, and I mentioned that she was due for a bit of an ascension a little bit after the middle of summer. So that kind of connected to the timeline. Brittany, don't hang up yet, but Skeeter, I have this weird thing. I try to close off, so I'm not walking around open and reading people.
Yeah.
Am I being told to read, people will walk up to me, like Brittany walked up today, and I looked at her and said, "Oh, you're an empath," and blah, 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 blah. I just started doing this, and I know I wasn't open, but I got everything. So am I being told to actually come out to certain people and mention that? Or am I just too not closing off or too open?
You're doing what you're supposed to do.
Okay. So it's primarily with an empath. If you're not an empath, I'm not going to see anything then.
Yeah. If average Joe who isn't ready for their awakening, or they don't have the empathic thing, we're all empathic. It's just they're not. Whatever.
Okay.
You're not going to zoom in on them. And it's an empath who needs to be told they're an empath that you're going to be drawn into.
Oh, so it was young Brittany. Very cool. Okay, Brett.
All right.
Hope you'll run into you
Till
again
next
someday.
time.
Until
Yep.
next time when you guys try to kill me with some weird meditation. All right. And thank you, Skeeter. And everybody else out there. We'll see you right after this next break.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on two mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. Two mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, news director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners. For only $5 a month, you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
It's time to go live on Spaced Out Weekend.
13, please. Oh, hi, Kevin. Oh, is that the time? Kevin, my friend, don't you find that watch just a little bit loud? Well, I certainly hope our buddy Bumblefoot is playing when we get there. Oh, you stinky big bundle of hair. I said Bumblefoot, not Bigfoot. Oh, it's going to be a long night.
It's time to head to the 13th floor of the old log cabin for Spaced Out Weekend with James Tyson. You can tweet James at James Tyson SOR. You can find him on Instagram, Spaced Out Weekend, as well as on Facebook. On YouTube, our channel is Spaced Out Radio Show, and you can check out our website, spacedoutradio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, perched high in his captain's chair, way above the clouds, here's James Tyson.
Welcome back, everybody. It is I, the same guy you just heard for the first hour, in for Elizabeth Englund, who is under the weather. Skeeter was doing some readings and made people cry. She's the Barbara Walters of the psychic world, it seems. But tonight, we're going to put our serious hats on. I have my Lords of Gastown serious toque. I've got my red and black Mackinac on. I'm all Canadianed out here. Hey, Skeeter, what do you call a toque in the United States? No, I'm just wondering. Do you know what a toque is? It's a wool cap you would wear when your head gets cold. Probably a wool cap you'd wear when you're... Oh.
Thank you, James. I've been educated. A new word for me.
A new word. I'm guessing it could be maybe French, too. It's one of them there things. But, of course, I only had 6 weeks in Montreal to learn French and didn't do that well. Tonight, we get back into our show we call The Shift. Now, The Shift is something that many people have written about over the last few years, and it is something that we're taking quite serious. Skeeter has her guide, Charlie, who has come through and is providing a number of bits and pieces and glimpses into what's going on, and a recap about what is happening politically in the world. It is what it's supposed to be. Like it or not, people are put in these positions to shake things up. This shake-up is part of what we need to have on this planet. And that goes for that lovely lady who may get elected in France, who makes Hitler look like a rabbi, and the other people, Germany, Australia, and other elections around the world, are putting people in to cause a bit of a, let's call it, discussion around what is happening. And this will affect everything, and we'll talk about it, from banking to where we should be living at any specific time. It is an interesting thing, this whole shift, and I've been learning a lot about it with Skeeter coming on, and I hope you have too. We're not here to kind of put the doom and gloom out there. We're not the end of the world type people, but there is a reason for this, and the reason is who we are. Most of the people who listen to this show are somewhat awakened to start with, or else they wouldn't be listening to this show. It is for you to understand why we believe, we being Skeeter and I anyway, and a few other people, believe we should really be paying attention to the signs of what's coming. Now, this is a twice monthly. This is every second Sunday, so it's back on 2 Sundays from now. And we're talking really about the next 3 to 5 years. Tonight, with Skeeter, we have Gabrielle. And Gabrielle drops in to chat with us about what she has seen coming. Now, as you know, Skeeter gets her information through a spirit guide. She's a medium. She's that medium between that side and you and I. Gabrielle is a clairvoyant. She sees these things. She's a psychic clairvoyant, and she has seen some things that are coming. In fact, she has moved from Vancouver Island, which, you know, is the second largest island in the Pacific Ocean, to Canadian mainland. And we're going to talk to her about what prompted that. She's a psychic clairvoyant with an exceptional gift. Having access to specialized information was allowed to Gabrielle to push the boundaries of psychic accuracy in areas of personal guidance, relationship solutions, professional direction, business consultancy, seminars, classes, motivational speaking, and therapeutic coaching. Psychic experiences, abilities, phobias, trauma, addictions, education, career, family, and relationship. Gabrielle also has it's kind of nice that she's here on the mainland, because now we get to see all those cool things that she's up to, and in her work as a clairvoyant medium. And I've never spoken to her before, other than just just before we came on, because she has a friend who I have to go through it. She's very special person. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Gabrielle. It's it is interesting, the types of work that you are doing. I find fascinating, and I find actually kind of scary. If you go to her website, I shouldn't say scary, I find it refreshingly interesting. She has a website, Gabrielle Giet, and I want to say Giet. Is that true? Am I saying it right? Nope. Okay, how do you say it? Gabrielle Giet. Oh, Giet. Oh. When? Sorry. Oui. Gabrielle Giet. Giet is spelled G-I-E. So Gabrielle Giet. Yeah, T. G-I-E-T. Go to Gabrielle Giet. Giet.com. That is her website. And please take a browse through there. It is quite interesting. She actually has a class coming up March 2nd at Douglas College. These are the people who live close to Vancouver, British Columbia. It's in Coquitlam, British Columbia. And it's if you go to her website, you will see and get some information about her psychic exposed class, and gives you an idea. It's an overview of what she does, plus what a psychic is really, and getting through a number of disciplines, or showing what some of these disciplines are in her 3-hour workshop. Again, that's March 2nd, Douglas College, Coquitlam campus, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. For those of you out on the lower left Canadian coast, drop in. Seating is limited, so make sure you get your name in there pretty darn quick. So, Gabrielle, welcome to the shift, and thanks for dropping by.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
You've been around. You've been around for a bit. When I say that, you almost 21 years now you've been alive. So no, but you've been doing this for quite a while, haven't you? 13 years. Well, see, way longer than me. So, way longer than me. This is one of these journeys for me that started about 5 years ago. So but I'm not also as let's call it awakened or switched on as you are. And Skeeter, who's been doing this a while too, she's it's going to be interesting because you both have different ways of seeing what's going on. Now, Skeeter is a seamstress by trade and an incredible psychic medium, spirit medium, and who also she drew some alien beings when I first met her that were connected to me, which is awkward when you don't know you're that connected to aliens. But it was a bit of a surprise. She did that to one of the other people in the Canadian Paranormal Society too. Well, Dave Scott, who does the show Monday to Friday, she drew a number of spooky little things for him, which had him kind of going sideways. But to have both of you together and with both of your views on what is coming in this event, or these number of events, what we call this shift. Gabrielle, tell me a little bit about your last 13 years. What the heck happened, and what 13 years ago sparked this, or what awoke in your mind?
I nearly died 13 years ago. So I grew up an absolute skeptic. I didn't believe in psychic stuff, didn't want to have anything to do with it. Aliens, forget it. If I couldn't see it, it wasn't there. If I couldn't talk to it, it didn't exist. And then I had baby number 2 and nearly died. And as a result of that, I was left kind of new and improved would be the way to, I think, describe it. There was no love and light in the experience. There was terror. You're dancing with insanity. Pretty much everything that is the opposite of what people write about is what happened. And as a result, I ended up with my first guide, Lucy, and she came in very abruptly, and it was quite something. The very first time we met, she said to me, "Tell her," were the words. And the reason for that was I was talking to a friend whose brother had just passed, and I didn't know anything about, psychic stuff or anything, but I was familiar with the term guides. And that's what she was asking me to come over and to explain. So I did. During that quick, 5 minutes of an explanation of what guides are, 3 people showed up behind her that I could see as clearly as I could see her. And I kind of had this pull to turn off, let go maybe. I'm not entirely sure quite what the words are. But at the same time, hearing the words, tell her, tell her, tell her, and then seeing the words, tell her, almost like, at the bottom of CNN, that little ribbon of information that floats along the bottom.
Right.
And just kind of, with no real reason, I did let go, and I kind of went on to autopilot, and I started telling her what I was seeing, what I was hearing. I spoke for nearly 5 hours straight. I ripped apart her life, everything from the addictions that she had to the affair she was having with her husband's best friend. I covered the death of the brother, how he died, the fact that he was a recovering heroin addict and had proof in his pocket. I ripped her apart. And then I left. And after that, that was sort of the beginning of how things went. And there was 10 days of what I call 10 days of crazy that left me struggling with, who do I talk to? You can't come out and say you're psychic. You risk everything. You're not just judged for your sanity. You're judged for your sincerity as well. Mm-hmm. You risk losing not just, your family and your friends, but you lose your rights as a human if they lock you up and medicate you. So I really struggled. And it was actually a turning point for me when I did my first missing persons for a police department. And I found the body. And that's when I quit my job as a chef and started doing this full time.
Oh, very cool.
That's my story.
That is your story. Now, when you say you almost died, did you actually die?
Well, they said that they couldn't find a pulse anymore. And I don't remember anything after that. Those are the last words I heard. We're losing her. There's no more pulse. Okay.
A lot of my friends who are psychic have died, well, more than once, some of them. In fact, Marianne Morgan, who, God bless her, wants to tell me when I'm going to die. She can look at somebody and say, oh, you're going to die March 7th. It'll be a Wednesday, 2045 of a stroke. And I don't want to know that, okay? It's like, I'm good. And she knows when she's going to die again, and she also knows that she's going to be okay afterwards. It's crazy. She's died, I think, 7 times. But,
yeah, this line of work does open the door to crazy.
Yeah. How did you feel when you say you found the body? Did you physically find it, or did you mark it on a map and somebody else did?
No. I gave two full pages of details with this person. I wasn't told that they were missing. I was given a name and an age, and I was asked what I know. And I gave the description of what he was wearing, down to the color of the laces on his boots, the medications he was taking. I gave the location of where he currently was, where he was going to be when he completed the act of suicide, how he was going to do it. I gave everything. I included that his wife knew and that she had lied to the police and told them that she told them he took off and started a new life. And in my notes, it said a man starting a new life doesn't leave his Harley and his wallet behind. And that she had a note and that she would come clean once he was found.
Amazing. Yeah.
That was my turning point. I made a sort of a cosmic contract that if I was wrong on anything, the color of his shirt, the name of the pills he took, if I was wrong on anything, I was never going to talk about this again.
Oh.
And when, the police phoned and said I was right on every single thing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
now,
so it was, the validation is incredible, the reason is terrible, but, I have a long resume of contract work with governments, celebrities, which I can't talk about because they make you sign contracts.
Yep.
Inventions, readings, hauntings.
I saw
homicide.
an invention of yours.
That's pretty wowie, eh?
Yeah, you invented a Band-Aid?
I invented a biological bandage made out of components out of the human body that will close a wound without scar tissue.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, it'll be even better when it gets out there. But, yeah, we've had doctors, world specialists look at it and everything. And it's interesting. Every one of them said it will do exactly what I said it would do, and not one of them asked me where it came from.
Isn't that interesting? Where did it come from?
My doctor. One of my guides is called the doctor.
Isn't that fascinating?
I have 4 in total.
Who are your guides? Are any of them that you knew from life?
No, none. So I have Lucy. She was the first one that showed up. Her and I became a pretty good team doing readings. I'm not a regular psychic. I don't like psychics. I don't operate in the world of woo-woo. I operate in a world of logic and proof. And when I started doing readings, I found that I had more questions after I was done. And it prompted another guide to show up. His name is Myrrh. Myrrh looks like he mugged a Three Musketeer. Small man syndrome. And he basically took me to a new level of learning where the information became faster. What I was able to produce in a 45-minute reading, I could do in 5 minutes. And he changed things big time. Shortly after he arrived, I ended up with Pierre, who doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, and Pierre is a representative of a species, and we'll get into that later. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up with the doctor.
Amazing.
And the doctor arrived after pushing with some medical information that Myrrh wasn't able to produce the proper data for me. And, so we branched off, and I ended up with the doctor, who currently looks like Ewan McGregor, which is very nice.
Oh, it's nice if you can have a pleasant-looking spirit guide to come through.
It is. It makes things a lot nicer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't come and go like a lot of other psychics talk about. Mm-hmm. My team is with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they never stop talking.
Oh, I have spoken to people like you. How do you deal with that in your day, in your waking day?
In the beginning, it was difficult, but over time, you learn what to pay attention to, what to ignore.
Okay.
End up sort of creating a version of survival skills so that you don't look like the crazy person talking to herself, walking down the mall. I'm able to talk to them in my head at the same time as carrying on a conversation with a regular person.
Oh, good. That's good. I've known a friend of mine at the spirit medium that I first ran into. She was hospitalized the first 2 Novembers when everything came through to her, because she was walking through the mall doing Christmas shopping, and the people who were walking towards her weren't real people, and it drained her to the point where she was hospitalized. And
it happened.
Yeah, her home is almost vacant of electrical equipment too. Like, there's nothing that's extra in there because it bothers her too.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you grow up on the West Coast, or are you from back eastern Canada?
No, I was born in Victoria.
Okay.
And got to live there until I was 10, and then moved to Ontario and did a life sentence there. Mm-hmm. And now I'm back home.
Okay. That's what I used to say about being a Mountie in northern Alberta. I did 2 years less a day, which is provincial jail time in a small town called Grimshaw.
Mine was 20-something years.
Oh, Lord. I'm guessing you got that was when you were married, or that was male related. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria is a lovely place. I did paranormal investigations there because the energy is from the tides going around that point of the island is just incredible. So even if you were a lost spirit who was trying to hide, sometimes you just can't because you glow in the dark. Actually, where Skeeter lives, we did a paranormal investigation there too. It's a small town with 2 rivers built on like quartz, and the mayor was even pointing out areas where if you stood long enough, you might see somebody walk by, whether it was residual energy or a lost soul energy. But Victoria is a very interesting place.
Yeah, I've done lots of hauntings there.
You've done lots of hauntings there? It was really good to get
in work. That's what it's called. So I'm not actually haunting the joint, but I show up and tell them who's there and what the deal is, and then they decide if they want to keep them or if I get rid of them.
Yeah, I had a phone call the other day. A young couple, not too far from where I live, their spirits were coming through in dream state, and one was, the wife was having a nightmare with this spirit, and then her husband described the exact same one in his, and then their kids did too, and said, "Yeah, that's something you probably want us to look at, because we'll come in and see what's there and move them on if necessary." Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is most of the time. Now, we've dragged you kicking and screaming onto the show. We're going to have, for the listener, we're going to have Gabrielle back for a full 2 hours of who she is and what she's up to, because it is absolutely fascinating. Not only with her guides, the doctor guide, and somebody like Pierre, who in a number of the psychics, and I talked to Gabrielle's friend Dale about this, that a number of the psychics that I've been speaking to over the last few years, their primary guide has taken a step back, and an ET guide has come in, and we're still kind of juggling on why that's happened to so many. And these are, like you, a psychic investigator, worked for the government, worked for the federal government, in whether it was remote viewing or local governments and the FBI in regards to serial killers or missing people. But their guides have been they're not gone. They just took a step back and let an ET come in. So
yeah, mine didn't.
Yours just was there? You just showed up?
No, my guide stayed with me 24/7. I worked separately with who I call visitors.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you still have contact with the visitors. You just have you have team one. You have the first string for backup, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I've got non-humans, then I have species, and then I have humans. Very popular over here. Very popular.
And I'm single and can't find anybody. Okay, I did have a ET guide to start off with, and now I have a lady from the 1700s with a three-peaked cap, which is kind of cool. The shift itself, and this is where we're going to get into, and I know you haven't really heard much about our show, and you don't know much about Skeeter and the information she has, but to encapsulate it is that she has a guide, Charlie, who's come through and has been very forthcoming with things that will happen or could happen if we as the human species don't smarten up. And I had a conversation about this with some people today who were at this meditation I was at, and we all kind of decided, that's a lot of work for so many people to do, no matter what hammer hits them over the head. It's actually, I'm sorry, I just looked at something on a chat room which completely derailed my train of thought. It was these number of events that are going to happen that are a wake-up call, and they're going to come one after another. And they've already started with a number of people getting into positions of power around the world, turning things a little topsy-turvy. And she was getting those, and sorry, Skeeter, I'm talking on your behalf, but she was getting them from Charlie, and we went kind of through the banking collapse and the political turmoil, and we were kind of getting off into almost civil disobedience, which is a nice way of putting a possible civil war, and then into the actual shift itself, the full-on magnetic pole shift. Now, that's kind of where we're at in our show, The Shift. Now, you've moved from, like I say, it's the second biggest island in the Pacific Ocean after New Zealand, to the mainland. What did you learn that prompted such a move?
Flat out, they told me the water was coming. And they showed me what would be the result of the water coming. And those on Vancouver Island weren't getting off. So I wasn't just instructed to move to the mainland. I was instructed to move to a certain altitude, which I did.
Perfect. Now, there was a website, and it actually gave an altitude, or so many hundreds of feet above sea level. What were you given?
I needed to be higher than 200 feet.
It's 200 feet. Oh, great. I'm going to have to go check the little survey marker.
Yeah, where you are, you're not high enough.
Yeah. Drat.
I told you had to move up north.
Yeah, but see, that there's up north, and then there's, move literally 200 yards south of me is a mountain, a small mountain that's, 600 or 700 feet up. So, but the infrastructure still is an issue.
Infrastructures are going to be a big issue. Absolutely.
Yeah. So moving to an acreage, multiple acreage up in the interior where I could grow my own food and have my own well might be a little more advantageous for me than hanging out down where I am. So,
lots of people that have been given the information are choosing that. That's the backup plan. Would the water come? Because when the water comes, essentially we're being exterminated. So those that do get to live, it's going to be a rough go for the first little while. Coastlines are going to change, things are going to shift, and we're going to be losing an awful lot of people. So, but then there's some of us who've decided that that's not good enough, and we're going to try and see if we can figure out a way to fix this.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to get out to the masses, is that it is our choice. We do have a choice in this.
I don't know how far, or if you're ready for me to just start spewing onto you. But
what do you think, Skeeter? Should we just let her spew?
Go for it.
Okay, here's what I know in a nutshell. Right now, the planet's made up of two types of humans. First one is called basics. Second group is called alters. The first group is the original group. When the planet was seeded, we were all basics. As time went on and we started to thrive instead of just exist, it was taken upon to start altering certain bloodlines, certain genetics that could handle it. And as a result, currently, of the, I don't know what we have, 17.4 billion people on the planet, 1/3 are now alters. Those alters are the ones who receive messages. Their psychic ability is significant. It's not to say that the basics don't have psychic ability, because they do. Psychic ability is naturally in a human being. I'll explain that later. But when we're dealing with the altars are the ones that are predominantly dealing with who I call visitors, different species off planet coming and going. And we're the group that have essentially been given the warning, if we don't change, we're done. And where we see a lot of discrepancy and where I had a lot of questions, because it's all well and good to be threatened, but it's an entirely different thing when they genuinely start answering questions. My first question was, why do we have to change? How do we change? And I was told about the frequency, that we needed to go from roughly a third dimension to a fourth dimension in terms of being able to live. Now, that's all well and good. Most humans operate between a 3, 4, and 5 frequency or vibration. And in my explanations, just so everyone's kind of on board here, dimension, frequency, and vibration reasonably refer to the same thing. Oftentimes we think of a dimension as a place when it's not. So we're talking about how fast the energy moves and how the space in between the energy is affected. Human beings are transmitters and receivers. And when I started to really hound them for information, because just like everybody else, and I'm sure Skeeter will agree, lots of it seems like it shows up in code. Kind of like if you're smart enough, you'll figure it out. Yet there's no one there to go, ding, 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 you got it right. So you're really left struggling. You're left talking with the few people that you can talk to about this, and without, of course, getting locked up with a really tight coat and some medication. It becomes limiting, and you become frustrated, and in extreme cases, paranoid. So I really started pushing, and I'm lucky. I have my spirit group here, and with the proof and evidence that they've provided, I do listen to them. And with their help, I was able to sort of formulate better questions so that I could get more information. And I have a very tight group of humans that are fantastic at asking questions and pushing boundaries. So as a result, we've been able to get some more information. And what it turned out is that the frequency, the shift that everyone is talking about, it has nothing to do with the planet. It's us. We have to shift. The vibration comes from the basics. The basics operate between a 3 and a 4 dimension. They need to be fully pushed to be 4. Once that happens, everything's going to change. How's that? Did I hurt your head?
No, it's actually pretty cool. It's now, I've been told I'm a 4th dimension person.
You will be if you're an altered. Yep.
Yeah.
If you're understanding what I'm talking about, you're an alter.
The next incarnation, I'm on my last part of the 4th dimension. I'm supposed to be incarnated next time more of a 5th dimension person. Does that make sense?
You could be. They don't explain it to me like that. They've explained that what we're living is essentially an experiment. This is our third go around. So we do have some disadvantages and some advantages. Those of us that are listening, those of us that are pushing boundaries with questions, are getting more information.
And that would include people like Skeeter, who is now asking all those questions of Charlie, her guide.
Yeah, and I mean, you could be getting them too.
What?
If you're an alter, you can be asking these questions. You just have to learn how to figure out how the answers are coming.
Oh, Lord. It's like going to school all over again.
It is exactly like going to school all over again.
Without the recess.
You can ask Peter, being this way is not a gift or a magical power. It just is what it is. Yeah. We had, I want to get in a little bit more of what we can do after, or what we can do to change this. But I do want to bring Skeeter in and talk a little bit about the being that showed up and told her not to be talking about this. Skeeter, did you tell Gabrielle and the
and the listener, just update them on what that was like.
Oh gosh. I was in California doing Jin Shin Jitsu energy training, and I was out in the car outside our hotel room, and this ship, I've drawn images of it, several different images now. The detail is still ingrained in my mind. But I saw the ship come down. I remember looking around and seeing the road workers who were staying at the hotel looking up at the ship. It went dark, and when I opened my eyes, sitting to my right, and I know it was my right because I'm blind on the right side, so I had to turn my head all the way around to look at them. And there was a reptilian-looking gentleman. Beautiful. For a reptilian, I guess. But he looked at me and went, shh. And I worked with a member of the Forest Moon Paranormal to open up some memories from that. And the big thing was, I'm not supposed to be talking about this. I wasn't supposed to draw pictures of the ship. I wasn't supposed to tell anyone about him. I wasn't supposed to remember anything. And I wasn't supposed to be on the show again. They had worked really hard the first 2 shows to try to get the show shut down. And I'm not supposed to be talking. Every time I start talking about this, I get a burning sensation on the left side of my face. But I've got Charlie coming through going, you really got to tell people. This is something that's, it's not just a, hey, this is cool, or, sell your house in Tokyo. This is life-changing. This is life or death. I have to get this out. But it is unnerving that an actual, this was physical for me. Normally a lot of things are in that other world. I won't say astral because it's not astral. It's that other level for me. For me to have this encounter on this plane is bizarre. And like you said earlier, it's one of those things like, ooh, do I need to go get meds? Do I need to rub a room? But it's something that, there's this drive in me now to start talking more and more about it and telling people more and more, hey, you're gifted. You need to start channeling this.
Yeah. And Gabrielle, we had a listener who had been a long-time listener coming in talking about things that he'd been seeing going to and from work. And we had long talks with this guy, and he had some readings, and we determined he was actually here as what would that be, Skeeter? Is more of an observer of human life to kind of go back and say, okay.
He's here to learn about the human condition, why humans are more content being miserable, why we're happy in our lower frequencies as compared to rising to higher frequencies. One of the things that I told him that came through very clearly to me is that the 10 Commandments weren't commandments. They were points to be aware of. One of the real simple explanations that I was given was, thou shalt not kill isn't necessarily a rule. It's if we were working at the frequency we were supposed to, if we were working at the level we're supposed to, there would be no need for murder. This is a checkpoint. This isn't a commandment. It's a checkpoint. Something's wrong because we're killing each other. Thou shalt not covet. We, as a society, if we were working as a we instead of a me, there would be no need to covet, because if someone needed something, they would have it. The community would work together to make sure that the individual was taken care of, instead of selfishly going, no, I got mine, you get yours.
Yeah, we talked about that too. One of our callers, we had a caller call in saying somebody asked, after this shift happens and we're living out on an acreage and I have seeds, if someone comes to me and wants my seeds, what do I do? And we kind of determine, well, they're not your seeds, they're our seeds. And if we go through our life understanding that what we have are actually ours, we will get along a lot better. You don't hold them back. You give the person some seeds. And that's what we're supposed to do. They're all this stuff that's coming is we have to understand we have to live with the earth, not off the earth, and live with each other. Gabrielle, do you, in your understanding and in what you've been given, is it similar then to what Skeeter has been provided?
Yeah, a little bit. A lot of similarities. Of course, information gets processed differently between different people. Basically, with human beings increasing their vibration, so taking a third-dimensional group of humans and pushing them into the fourth dimension allows them to connect. It allows them to connect in a way that we've never connected before. It's what scares us right now. And your comment about the seeds, there wouldn't even be a need to ask, because once you are connected, we start operating as a proper species, and we'll go from being the almost disaster that we are to being contributing and worthy, to use a ridiculous word, worthy to survive. So right now, as human beings, we work so hard to be individual. We're scared of change. We're scared of things that are new. Psychic ability scares the hell out of most people, and it shouldn't. It's a natural thing, and we've turned it into something ridiculous. All other species on the planet are connected. We're the only ones that fight for individual, and that's wrong, and that's what we have to fix. We shouldn't be divided by countries and borders and people with guns and I have this and you can't have it. That's wrong. And until we get that right, we're on the docket to be wiped out.
And that's one of those things where it's kind of funny to hear people say, well, the anti-globalization push, the EU has kind of dropped a lot of the sanctions against other countries. They become one big area. They had a common currency. Now England left it in fear to become back its own little island. They really should be. We all should be joining, and we all should be globalized because we're all here.
But you're scared of what you don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody is. The bump in the night, you're scared. Everyone should be. And when we're connected, then the bump of the night is something that everyone is now looking at. Mm-hmm. And you're not scared anymore. When you guys do your paranormal investigations, if you go in one at a time, it's terrifying. Go in as a group, we're good.
Yep. Yeah, we do have these really nasty groups out there like ISIL and ISIS, and they're doing horrible things. So we're afraid that if we open our borders, those people will come close to our house, even though we're on the other side of the planet. And it's that fear that keeps the walls up.
Absolutely.
And all we need is a few thousand people out of this, 17-some billion. You get 1,000 or so people, and that's how frightened we become as a planet. Because we're worried about there's a few thousand people like that over in the Middle East. There's a few thousand crazies in North Korea. We've got to keep these walls up to protect our families. Once these walls come down,
it's a lot closer to home than that, James. People are scared of their neighbors.
Oh, of course.
You were a cop. People are terrified of cops. Even people that haven't done anything wrong.
Well,
and it's wrong. That is not how we're supposed to operate. When you send your child to kindergarten, you want that kid to play with everybody. But by the time they get to grade 3, you're already telling them, avoid that group. Hang out with those kids. Stay away from that kid. We're already doing it. We do it based on wanting the best for our kid, but we're not seeing the chain reaction that we're creating. It's not ISIS and Trump and bad guys there and bad guys here. It's not saying hello to your neighbor.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
That was a change for me, even growing up as a kid. I think I walked about 1.5 miles to kindergarten. I was 5. They opened the door, off I went. It was years later that there was a serial killer out here preying on a number of children, and it was that point where you walked your kid everywhere. Even after he was arrested and put in jail, you still walked your kid everywhere. You didn't just open the door and let him go. You locked your door. You became paranoid that it happened to one kid out of 1 million, so my kid may be next. And I see it. I have 2 daughters, and I've always said, I don't protect my daughters. I just back them up. They can do anything they want. I'm just there to back up, as backup if they call me. But it's their decision. It's their life. If they want to do something, I just support what they do. But it is an awkward sense. One of the questions I had on actually coming in the chat room here, when we are enlightened and we find we're around a number of people that aren't, what is it we do to the ones that won't change, that dig in, that keep that fence up, that build that wall, that store those guns in the basement, and terrified of the 12-year-old Syrian refugee showing up? What can we do to get them to pay attention, or can we do anything? Are they just kind of the ones left to wash away?
We can. We absolutely can. There's lots of things we can do, and it starts with education. It starts with programs like this that prompt people to think. They prompt people to ask questions. Our number one go-to is to keep your mouth shut and maybe have a conversation around the kitchen table. That's got to stop. We've got to start not letting Hollywood program us in terms of what abilities are, what a mutant looks like, what aliens look like, what they're here to do, their agendas. And we need to genuinely start thinking for ourselves and getting information ourselves instead of looking for it on a screen. And once we can start doing that, those guys hiding in the basements with all the guns and scared of the 12-year-old refugee, things will start to change because they won't be scared anymore. And calm is contagious.
Yes.
Exactly as my fear is. So as you've seen fear runs through a crowd like crazy. But calm can do the same thing.
Yeah, I used to be on a tactical team, which most people would call a riot team, and that's one of the things we learned. Is if you appear scary, it frightens people. If you frighten people, it agitates them to the core, and they may actually do something they weren't even planning on doing.
Exactly.
So we would go in very passively, take your hat off, talk to people, smile, and then
be a human.
Yeah, you could identify the kind of the non-humans bouncing off the walls and the black balaclavas and the backpacks who want to break everything, and kind of all you did was ignore everybody else, and you kind of focused on the one or two out of the every 50 or 60 that were there. And those one or two are what got everybody going. They're the ones that would yell, "Fight, fight, fight" in the schoolyard and draw a big crowd. But they weren't, they were the antagonizers. But once you kind of identified them and calmed them down, if you could, it was a lot easier to deal with a mass than that way, because you're just dealing with an individual. And if you take the mask off of them, they crumble. They absolutely crumble, because anonymously they're invincible. But once you get the mask off, they they don't know what to do. They kind of shake and apologize, and off they go. But you never see that on TV, so because we don't let them film that. It's interesting. You've been getting information. Now I want to know, like, you've actually moved. You've taken up the family. Even some of your friends moved off.
A lot of boxes. Yes.
A lot of boxes. There's still boxes around the house.
Yeah.
What timeline did you get?
I was told in August to be off the island before the snow came.
Okay, see,
and
that's
the snow came, December, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I moved my kids, I moved my family, I moved my best friend, I moved everybody. I really did. And those that are left behind, nowhere to go when I call.
Yeah. I grew up on an island in a delta in the Fraser River here in British Columbia. It's actually anywhere between 2 and 3 feet below sea level. It's right next to another island that the Vancouver International Airport's on. And that island is actually almost all 3 feet below sea level. And the federal government of Canada is quietly raising the dike around it without kind of pointing that this could go any... And they're kind of worried about the global warming and the water rising. But the island beside it, where all the houses are, the one I grew up on, those 66 by 120 lots go for over $1 million. And people from all over the world go there to live. So many people, in fact, that it's like rush hour traffic 24 hours a day. They're gone. I've always said, like, all you needed was a minor earthquake and that place would turn to jello. But I can't believe people still live on the floodplains.
They do.
They do. But I also know very awakened people who live down there.
Yeah, that's a bit of a... yeah, well, I won't say what it actually is because I tend to swear a lot, so I'm not going to on your show.
Well, without swearing, why would somebody who's actually awakened and is very spiritual and understands themselves still put themselves... Well, let's say all of the Pacific Coast, we have some very, very wonderful people, even on Vancouver Island, where you've moved from, that are connected. Are they just not getting the same environment?
Don't want to face it.
Oh, okay.
They hope and pray that it's not real, that this is going to go away, that this is, something that will dodge later. And we haven't really hit a time of, scary.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been real damage yet. So it's baffling. It's very baffling. I have friends that are similar to me that through circumstances or whatever claim that they can't move, which, I mean, I can understand that. Moving is bloody expensive. And it's a lot to consider. It's a lot of people's lives that you have to sort of check in with and do. And then you've got to go around and explain why you're leaving. This is the first time that I've come out publicly to explain why I left.
It is one of those things that's a little bit hard to take in it's like that medicine. You're taking some medicine, the very first part of it can get a little odd. We're going to come back after the 7-minute stretch with more on this shift. Buckle up.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I would like to invite you to listen Monday through Friday right here on Spaced Out Radio. 3 hours a night of the top stories with the top guests, ranging topics from UFOs to ETs, ghosts to Sasquatch, and everything in between. We are live every night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. So come on in and take a listen at spacedoutradio.com. Spaced Out Radio will take you out of this world.
Hi there, this is your psychic medium Joanna, and I would love it if you would join us every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. With host James Tyson, we'll bring you personal psychic messages on two mediums and a large. Questions about love, life, career changes. We would love it if you would come and join us live. Call in and listen in for the experience. Allow us to open the doors to your other side. Two mediums and a large, heard only on Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for news beyond the mainstream news? Head to spacedoutradio.com and check out the SOR Spacewire. This is Spaced Out Radio's Eric Markham, News Director for the SOR Spacewire. Daily, I will bring you intriguing stories and outlandish reports from what's going on around the world. UFO sightings, paranormal activity, conspiracies, alternative health, and so much more. And if you have news, email me at news@spacedoutradio.com.
Attention Spaced Out Radio listeners. For only $5 a month, you can join Spaced Out Radio Space Travelers. Your membership at spacedoutradio.com will give you access to private fan area on the website, get you a monthly newsletter, draws for monthly swag, and a whole lot more. Sign up today to become a part of the Spaced Out Radio experience.
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Greetings and salutations, space travelers, from the Chronicles of the Unknown team.
What is Chronicles of the Unknown? I keep hearing about this thing.
It's a new paranormal reality TV show based right here in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Follow our team as we uncover claims of activity on the Caribou Gold Rush Trail. You can also follow us here every third Monday, where two members of our team will be available to answer your questions. We'll give you some equipment updates and some of our experiences on the road, right here on Spaced Out Radio.
For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Find yourself constantly looking up in the sky, looking for answers? Have you had extraterrestrial contact? Are you an abductee? Looking for answers to your experiences? Hi there, I'm R. Keith Andrews, Spaced Out Radio's resident ET expert. Join me live the first Friday of every month, where I take questions from the Spaced Out Radio chat room and help you understand those from the far-off world. It's 2 hours of knowledge every experiencer should listen to. Hope to see you there.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webster Small, and I'm here to bring you the Webster Phenomena every Saturday night, live at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking for aliens and extraterrestrials, well, we've got them. Big and tall, short and small. You're bound to find what you're looking for, so join me on the Webster Phenomena right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Jolene with Rivulet Reiki and Readings, and I want you to relax. Let me help you chill out and get in touch with your body, mind, and soul. In this busy world, sometimes we need to let go, and this is where I can help. Visit my website, rivuletrndr.wix.com/rivuletrndr, or my Facebook page, Rivulet R&R, to set up an appointment for relaxation, Reiki, or readings, no matter where you are. It's time for you to make time for you.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Tonight's edition of Spaced Out Weekend is brought to you by SpacedOutRadio.com, where you can now sign up to become a Space Traveler member. Now, for the final time tonight, here's Spaced Out Weekend's James Tyson.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Happy Show. It's the happiest 2 hours in internet streaming radio, traveling out around the world. Yes, we're beamed out to 160 countries around the world via the United Public Radio Network. We are also bouncing all over the place on all those fancy other links that Dave signed us up for in the last 72 hours, it seems like. And I got to ask you, have you signed up for the SOR Space Travelers Club yet? Dave says it's $5, but I go in there and make a donation on PayPal. So you can sign up for that at spaceoutradio.com. Get your name entered into monthly prize draws, access to private group and interviews, access to special section on the website, and much more. And while you're there, if you've had an experience, are you an experiencer? Like, that's just thought of that, Skeeter. You've experienced something. You should get it looked into from a different angle by filling out a SOR Sightlines report on our website and get Mike Schmidt looking into it with you. And all that information will be 100% confidential until we talk about it on the show. And then that'll be great. So welcome back. We are with Gabrielle Giet. Gabrielle, how do you say your last name? Giet? Giet, that's what it was. Gabrielle Giet, which is a very cool name. I'm quite impressed with having a person with a really very nice French name on. And I know it's a nice French name because, gosh darn it, I can't articulate it, and I can't say it half the time. So I'll just stick with Skeeter Welhouse, and Skeeter Welhouse 2. Gabrielle Giet, from now, not too far from where I live, just up the road. But when I say up the road, I mean, like, gosh darn it, on top of a hill. Yes, it's one of those very nice little, what can I call it? A nice name. And I'm going to give her a shout back here really quick. We have still an hour left. Skeeter, while I've got you kicking and screaming and unable to run away right in the middle of your solitaire game. Oh, no, you're answering
Dungeons
questions.
and Dragons.
Oh, Dungeons and yeah. And that you're speaking to people on the chat room. We were talking to Gabrielle about her. This could be her now. Hello. Sorry forgot your number for a second. We were talking to Gabrielle before we left about her reasoning for moving from Vancouver Island over to the lower mainland of Canada, or over to the mainland of Canada. You made a move too with similar instructions from the other side. Tell us about that.
About a year and a half ago, I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and about a year before that, I was told I need to get out of there. Come hell or high water, I needed to get my family, my husband, myself out of the state of New Mexico. That something massive was coming that was just going to take an already tense situation and just ignite it beyond all belief. My husband was a special education teacher there. My daughter was in the special education system. We were fighting on both ends. We were living in what they called the war zone. In fact, if you watch a certain show that was filmed down that way, you'll see the back end of my car in one of the episodes.
You can name it.
Am I allowed to?
Yeah, it's Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Breaking Bad was actually filmed right outside my apartment complex, and they did not have to change it for atmosphere. It came with all the druggies and thugs, naturally. But we borrowed money. We loaded up what we could fit in the back of a tiny U-Haul truck, and we hauled up here. I was first told the first place I was going to move to was Camas, Washington, but when I got there, I was told it was too low. It wasn't the right place, and I threw a dart, and it pointed me here to Maple Valley, where I live and love. And it's up high. It's isolated in a nice little valley. Lots of green, lots of gardening. And since we've left New Mexico, I've been seeing what my guides were protecting us from, as the school system has done some not so advantageous things by cutting teachers' pays, by hurting funds for special education groups. My brother, who is police force down that way, I've heard that it's gotten rougher. Albuquerque is one of the hubs for the Mexican drug cartel, and it's gotten a lot rougher, especially since all the things with immigration and deportation have amped up. It's literally a very intense situation down there. There's a lot of beautiful people down there still. A lot of good people fighting the fight, but I'm so grateful that my guides brought me up here, because I was able to protect my family. I was able to get them out of that before it hit, because where we were, it would have hit us the hardest.
And that's the social breakdown, as opposed to...
That's the social breakdown, as opposed to a big wave.
Yeah, because, I'm about whatever 40 meters is in... It's about 100. I'm 120 feet off sea level where I live. I was looking that up, and I still need 60 feet to go up, and at a minimum. And bless you, I don't want to have beachfront property if the majority of the population are going to be bloated and washing up, lapping at my doorstep. I would rather be a little bit higher away.
Yeah.
Yeah. We forget that there was bodies washing up for months after the tsunamis out in Indonesia. So
oh yeah, no,
don't really want that
funny stuff.
Yeah, Gabrielle, when you got your information, and processed it, did you see a number of steps that have to be taken before the water part comes? Like, did you see...
Well, that has a lot to do with which direction you're asking. I was given a ridiculous amount of survival training in terms of being able to survive the water coming. Mm-hmm. And I decided that wasn't good enough. And so then I was given another set of instructions on if you're strong enough, if you're able, if you can put together enough of a team, will walk you through how to fix it. So that's what I'm doing. The information wasn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing.
And Skeeter, you had information basically showing, and a year or so ago, I had a very well-known psychic on here, Jeannie Borgen, say that she saw the flags of the White House burning, and she said that didn't mean the White House was going to burn or anything. It meant that there was going to be such a change in the political system with the U.S. that the old system was basically going to be thrown out, and this new system was going to guide us into an age of, I was going to say age of disruption. Yeah, age of disruption would be the first thing that comes to mind. And you see it's starting with the changes in government. Yeah, well, the changes in government around the world. Yeah. And there was no choice. These people were placed in these positions because they had to be in there for this first step to get us to start paying attention. And you came up, or you were talking about, I think our second episode, the second step was to do with the banking systems.
Yes.
And Gabrielle, did you get any information like that too?
No. So basically the way my team works is we try to avoid a lot of the political stuff. There's a lot of variables that take place in terms of the outcome of the predictions for those types of things. I can tell you that it was the end of September when they sort of pulled the curtains down, and I wasn't able to see in people's blueprints past Christmas. I couldn't see what was necessarily happening, and then as Christmas came closer, I wasn't able to see past the end of January. The night that Trump got in, I didn't find out through regular ways. I had visitors come and literally sit on my bed and tell me that the shift has happened with this, and the man is now going to be president, and that I need to get off the island immediately.
Okay. So it was basically as a result of this first step, it was coming a lot quicker.
Yeah, so because it had been long predicted that the woman would win, and that this was going to be a sudden shift, that something dramatic had happened deliberately.
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
Yeah, we got that it was deliberate too, because you've got two people. I always explain it. You've got two people working together in the same office who are best of friends and do everything the same, but they cannot understand why one voted one way and the other voted the other way. It is completely baffling to them that they could be that polarized on it, and it's brought up a lot of anger on the two sides, which has never happened before.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So this person was supposed to have won, and that person is in the position he's supposed to be in at this point in history, as well as what's going to happen in the other places in the world too that are going through elections right now. France and eventually Germany and Australia. There are parties forming that are similar, if not identical, to the type of party that will put a line right down the center of the country, polarize two groups. It's interesting. We've got Skeeter talking about her information goes from the banking system crashing, and we all have our, well, no, I shouldn't say all of us, but the majority of us get our checks automatically deposited, and we take money out via computer or credit cards, which is a computer. And if that system gets turned off, I have no way to buy bread from the guy who sells bread, and he's got no way to deposit the money or get paid himself. So we have to start thinking about, baking our own bread again, grinding our own grain, sewing our own clothes, things like this. So that's one side of you like you say, Gabrielle, there's that side. I can get a team together who are good survivalists, or we can work very hard on trying to get everybody to pay attention and smarten up.
The second one's my vote.
Yeah. And the information that you're getting, is there a chance for that to work?
Well, I'm busting my ass hoping that there is.
Yeah.
I've been given some steps. I've been given some information on what to do. And education is a biggie. Learning to use all of your senses is something that is imperative for our survival. So that's number one. And then bringing together the altars that are already here and getting them to sort of amp up so that we can start pushing the frequency out where the altars can breathe better. So, Skeeter, I'm quite sure that you understand when you're around certain people, it's difficult to breathe, and around other people, it's excellent to breathe.
Yeah, no, it's totally. I go into some crowds, it's like I feel like someone's wrapped a wet wool blanket around me, and it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And other times it's like I can't get enough of these people, which is really weird because I'm terrified of humans. I prefer to hide from them naturally. So if I'm in a group where I feel comfortable, that's new to me, and I know there's definitely a vibe there that I want to feed and encourage.
Yeah. I do want to very quickly clarify something. Intelligence is not the determining factor of who's a basic and who's an altar. You can have an altar that is as dumb as a bag of hammers and a basic that is at genius level. The basics simply aren't able to comprehend conversations, certain wording, things to do with energy, things to do with off-planet. They simply just aren't interested. It's nonsense for the most part. But just because, someone comes across intelligent doesn't necessarily mean that they are an altar. So it really is by feel. You'll know they are because they feel like it. Yeah.
No, there was a homeless gentleman I saw years and years and years ago. He came up down the main walkway on 4th Street. There's a bunch of trees there. And everybody else was ignoring him, but this man was glowing. And he started yelling at the trees and telling them how dare they send energy after him. And it was weird because, your natural instinct is to ignore and avert your eyes, but his energy, and I actually got to sit and talk with him for a while once I helped him banish the trees. But his energy, understanding of the world and all these things, he was actually one of the very first people that I met that actually encouraged me to open up to who I was. He knew I had just lost a baby, and he said, you didn't lose it. It had to come and open you up. It had to break that shell so that you would see someone like me. And this guy had nothing. No, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, he couldn't take care of himself, he had PTSD, he had all these horrid things. Someone that you would not expect to be enlightened and so fantastic. And here he was. All that and more, and having absolutely nothing to do with what we said as values of what's important.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I am the bag of hammers. It is. Yeah, I'm baby stepping my way through this. My daughter, who's a lot more, she is a lot higher in energy than I am. She hasn't really clicked in yet. Her mother is very, very bright, but not connected at all. it's hard because like, well, you know this, Gabrielle, moving in this neighborhood is hard. I paid less than $250,000 for this house, and the ground under it, somebody wanted to give me $1.2 million for it, which great. I could buy a ranch almost up in the interior, or a good size acreage with multiple wells and solar and the whole bit. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with I just double checked my home elevation. I am 3.5 feet shy of 200 feet.
Good.
Yeah. Well, that puts
on the roof.
That puts the bodies lapping up at my doorstep again. My neighbors lapping up on my doorstep. I laugh because it's all I can do.
You made my whole group laugh. That's very good. Thank you.
I look at this and I wonder, what can I do to help get the information out? I can put it out. I would like this broadcast is going out right now to, just on one of our feeds here, to about 140,000 people. That's just one of them. So there's a number of other feeds that we're out there. We're on iTunes and YouTube, and people can listen afterwards. But if you were to stand on a pulpit today, Gabrielle, what would you say if you had the opportunity to speak to 17 billion people and they all could understand you? What is it you would kind of dig down on, and if you had 10 points to put out there, what would you give them?
Well, basically, I'm still putting it together, but it involves, like I've said from the beginning, education. It involves the alters understanding who they are. It involves dropping the fear and creating the calm, and ultimately changing the perspective of what we consider human. Because right now, we have got it ass backwards, and we genuinely need to turn it around. And I don't care who starts. I don't care if people have better plans than I do. But I am looking for help. I'm always looking for help. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be going on a international tour, hopefully starting this fall, pushing this very thing. So if you're interested, give me a call.
Perfect. And how will they get a hold of you? What's your email address?
info@GabrielleGiet.com, which is GabrielleGiet.com. You can go to the website. You can follow me on Facebook. I'm quite vocal on Facebook. I actually have two. I have the psychic one, and I have my Hush Hush, which is all the visitor, alien, bump in the night things. Sleep paralysis, different types of species, all that kind of stuff. I'm very familiar with about 6 different kinds. So, yeah, you can just come and find me or come to the workshop. I'm doing a workshop on Thursday if you're here in Coquitlam.
Yeah, we mentioned that the Coquitlam workshop you have at Douglas College, which is kind of cool because that's and that's for those people who are out in the lower mainland, British Columbia, here in Canada. Douglas College, Coquitlam campus, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., March 2nd. And again, you can get a hold of Gabrielle. I keep throwing an A on the end of it. Gabrielle at info@GabrielleGiet.com. You can find that through her website. And sorry, that was my dog coming in because he was lonely. I was like, what is that? It's scaring me again. Gabrielle, I've had two times doing this show. My dad, who has passed, grabbed my collar and pulled me back in the chair once. And I had an orb come through. So I get a little paranoid when I hear a noise coming up behind me sometimes. It's, again, it's...
over to my house. You haven't seen anything yet.
No, thanks. Do you have an older house, or you're just one of those lightning rods?
I know. I have a new house, but, yeah.
You're a lightning rod, yeah. So her workshop is Psychic Exposed. And that, again, is March 2nd here in the Lower Mainland, British Columbia, Douglas College, Coquitlam campus.
Yeah, come on down. I'm going to make your head hurt.
Oh, man. I just had that with this Kun Lun meditation today. My entire body hurts. My Kun will never be Lund again. It was painful. Who is this Max Christensen, and why is he teaching such painful things? I need more information. I am like you. I'm one of those people that, I came in as a skeptic in a paranormal field. I didn't know what the heck an empath was until a couple of years ago, and now I'm seeing them when they walk up to me. I can't explain it. I can pick them out of photos. I have people coming out of the blue who are empaths coming to me. It's odd, but I need still that policeman side, that kind of semi-academic side of me. I need to understand where this information comes from. So it's nice that you explained your team. At the beginning of this, we talked about Skeeter's visitor who was sitting beside her in the car, Lizard Man or whatever, and you were saying you had some more information about that. What info can you pass on to Skeeter about that?
Yeah, so Lizard Man actually is a species called Roth. Roth actually live here. The term prison planet is based on them being imprisoned here. Quite sure you're familiar with the term. If you want to add on some endings to the term Roth, you'll find out different family bloodlines. Roth are small, only male. The females were killed. And they're not particularly fond of what some of us have to do for work. That's who threatened Skeeter.
So when you say they don't like what you do for work, you mean the more of the psychic, let's call it?
It's the exposing. It's the talking about how to get us out from under them. They're the ones that introduced the monetary system. They're the ones that introduced slavery, us destroying the planet. They're behind all of that. It took me a long time to really wrap my head around it because I was really okay with understanding that humans are just ridiculous and selfish by nature. It's a whole other thing when you realize that there's puppet masters orchestrating things behind the scenes. So they are a problem. They're often mistaken for reptilians, and that's wrong because reptilians are a very different species, and they quite like humans.
See, and that's the thing. Everybody keeps telling me they're reptilian, and I keep going, no, it's not reptilian. And they're like, oh, no, you're wrong. We're right, you're wrong. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, they're wrong. Yeah, no, they're wrong.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, Roth can shapeshift. They look like humans most of the time. If you irritate them, some of the originals can't quite hold their shape, and they start to sort of fall apart, particularly in the eyes first, and then you see them kind of go a little bit shiny. But on an everyday basis, we have who I call visitors here regularly. We come from them. So we're built from them. Our DNA is their DNA. It's not one species. We're made up of 12. And that's what a human being is. So I'm sure you've also heard of the term living library. That
Yes.
Earth is a living library. It's not the planet that's a library. It's us.
Yeah.
Our DNA holds 12 royal families' DNA. We are the library. We're the precious cargo. And we can't even wrap our heads around not shooting each other. So we have a choice. We can evolve and change and grow and learn to work together, or this experiment is going to come to an end, as it has twice before.
Describe the two previous times. Oh, sorry, Skeeter, go ahead.
See, I think it's interesting that you bring that up because that's something that I've known since I was itty-bitty, before I even knew about all of this, was that I've had a guide. Her name was Mercedes, And she showed me that this world was an experiment. It was a test. And there were these other worlds that everyone who is here is actually made of. And to hear you confirm it is really enriching for me, because it's nice, because at least I know Mercedes isn't completely crazy, and neither am I.
Well.
But what's really interesting is that Mercedes has shown me why Earth was picked for this experiment, and why it's so important for the experiment to fail.
To fail?
To fail.
Why is that?
Because she wanted to show so desperately that we couldn't get along together. That's why she took certain fractions and made sure they remained fractioned. Charlie, her form is actually trying to put the fractions together again. I can't even begin to explain it in words what she's showing me, but she's showing these pieces slowly being brought back together. But it's going within the human and actually grabbing that core, that center, and bringing it together with another one and putting the two pieces together. And it's reuniting these 12 as a one instead of as 12 individuals, and pushing them as 12 individual. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. I tried to explain it as best I could.
I get where you're going with it. It's not... I think I'm trying to process the 12 acting as one. So I can't really comment on what Mercedes is showing you versus the other one kind of putting it together. There's everything riding on this experiment. It's not...
no, there is. There's a lot riding on it.
Yeah. So, and I've been shown that there's some type of a treaty of some kind, that there's very limited contact between the 12 with the humans. We're supposed to evolve on our own, but it's only been recently that there's been a bit of a change and some help has been given. I'm very familiar with several of the groups. I don't know all of them. There are quite a few. I think there's about 4 that I actually haven't met. I have no idea who they are. But lots of them, if you go sort of looking online, you'll find names that are familiar, and the information online about them is ridiculous. But predominantly we're made up of 12, which the ones that I know, Mantian is one, Palladian is another, Sirian, Andromedid, Lyrian, Felinian, are the ones that I know well. So, and Reptilian. The little grays, just throwing this out there, the little grays are not what anyone thinks they are. So they are kind of like little hired hands that all species use, all of them. So when you have visitations and you see little grays or something like that, try and go past them. Go past and see who brought them, because that's who's really there. Just a little tidbit from me to you.
Yeah, and I've heard that from someone else, saying that you can ask, when you see, if you're going to be approached by greys, ask for a higher, what was the term? Ask for a higher
rank?
Higher being, or just a being of higher vibration or something. Don't be polite about it. Yeah.
That is one thing I learned very hard. If you're polite, you end up with wishy-washy and you'll lose. Be very demanding. That's how you move forward.
Yeah. There was a couple who were taken, or they ran into a bit of an alien issue out in the Mojave Desert. And the fellow wrote a book on their story, and it was the Greys that were first poking and prodding at them, and they were fighting back and screaming, and then a tall blue came in and said, look, this is going to be over soon. You're all going to be okay.
Yep.
So, and all the Greys could, like, they just took a step back, let this thing come in and control.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing all the poking, prodding, and hurting part of it, but they were described as kind of getting off or getting. They liked when they were scaring the humans or doing something that made them.
Yeah, hurt. They do. The Greys have their personality minus beehive mentality. They do have to take orders from whoever is higher ranking, which is us. We are higher ranking than they are. They have abilities. They are able to essentially turn off a human. But unlike some of the movies, they don't have teeth. And they can be killed very easily. And they're really just a pain in the ass to put it out flat. So just try and get past them. Most people are just shocked by them.
Oh,
that whole, oh my God, they're real.
Yeah, it's the fear that will get you first.
Yeah.
And then, and that's what takes over. It's like the sleep paralysis. I've been really good with kicking stuff off, trying, like, the things that are holding me down. I had an issue and had 3 entities holding me down, and Skeeter had to come in the next day and we got them cleaned up. But I'm really good myself throwing those things off because I know I'm stronger than they are. But when 3 of them came, it was a bit of an issue until we finally called in some backup. What is if you were going to go do a paranormal investigation, Gabrielle, how would you clean yourself? How would you prepare yourself?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I've got backup. I walk in, I handle the situation, I walk out.
Now, what do you think about me? I use the Archangel Michael.
Yeah, I know Michael. He's an Andromedid.
Okay. We've had some good times together. He looks after me as I ride my motorcycle.
He's quite fond of cops, actually.
Yeah, he is. And he's got a good sense of humor. And plus, he likes cleaning out the lower vibration entities that are kicking around. I also have a archangel that's relatively strong in me, Heniel, because I have my sensitive side, we'll call it a psychic side, even though I don't like using that word, is on my left side. It's it's more from my mother's side of the family. It's more my mom, so it's more of a female thing. And that's the side that I get my goosebumps on, and that I was told that that's why she's around you. So they're good.
There's a bunch more you'll meet. Yeah,
I will.
They all do different things.
Yeah, I'm still trying to.
Whenever you do.
Really?
Yeah, if you've already met 2, you are absolutely able to meet the rest.
I haven't physically met them.
You will. You can.
I talk to them.
I mean, Metatron will rock your world a little bit, but
Well, Metatron is the one that I was dealing with when I had my third eye meditation. Try to open it up, and then that's when I got a whole whack of information. And I've only been able to do it once, but it was a lot of fun. And that's when I saw the one that the spirit guide that I didn't know who this woman was until Skeeter said, "Oh, you have a new spirit guide come through," and she was describing her, and I said, "Does she have a hat?" And Skeeter said, "Oh yeah, she has a 3-peaked hat." And I said, "Oh, okay, I've seen her. She's a nice lady, actually really cute. I think her name, Skeeter, was it Annabelle or Annabella or something like that?"
Annabella.
Annabella, which was kind of cool. But my primary guide was E.T. And I'm supposed. Oh, and Skeeter said I went back. We had my DNA done, or my cousin did. And goes back 30,000 years, and it first kind of popped up, allegedly just north between the Valley of the Kings and Cairo. And I said, "So where was my DNA before that?" And whatever came through to Skeeter said, "Well, doesn't he know he's got reptilian DNA too?" It's like, oh man, what other weird things? Plus, I'm also supposed to be some blue thing. I don't know. What is your...
That would be
Which one?
Syrian.
Syrian? That's what I thought too. So, how about you? Where are you in the great scheme of things, Gabrielle? Where do you fit?
I dance very nicely between sane and insane. How's that for an answer?
Good. Are you? Your
let's
DNA.
Let's go with human who is really good at picking fights. How's that?
Okay, human that's good at picking fights, but no no alien mixed in there.
Well, if you follow the explanation I already gave you about everyone, coming from the 12, when people start pulling out different bits and pieces, oh, you're reptilian, oh, you're Mantian, or you're Palladian, my team goes, well, that's all well and good because you're needing to feel special. But for the most part, you are made up of 12, so it really doesn't matter. Chances are, if they're pulling up reptilian, it's because that's who's visiting you more often, not necessarily that that's what you are. So when you kind of back up and start looking at things and start demanding proof and turn on sort of what you were saying earlier about, the student side of you, the logic side of you, the cop side of you, I don't buy for 1 second when you send in a DNA test and it says it comes back from 30,000 years ago in Cairo. I want proof. Show that to me, because I don't buy that for a second.
I have a piece of paper that shows it.
I you know what? I bet you do. I bet you even have a receipt for what you paid for. Doesn't mean it's real.
Now, can I interject a question real quick?
No. Yes, of course.
This is for you, Gabrielle. One of the things that is really, since I've stepped out and started talking and started doing what I do, me and you talked earlier today, and I told you I've been isolated my whole life. I've been locked away. But when I came out, automatically people wanted to tell me, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, you belong to, no, you can't. And it's been really confusing for me because I don't feel like there is a separation, just as you just said. We're all part of that 12. Yep. Why are we so intent on telling people, you belong to this, you belong to that?
Well, it's a little bit of shoving what you've learned down someone else's throat. And I have a real objection to that. I have a real objection to psychics running around tapping people on the shoulder, presenting information, because you don't have a right to do that. They didn't ask for it. And, when I have, just like you, I have people telling me, oh, you're like this, oh, you're like that. I mean, one of the go-tos isn't a species, but they always tell me, oh, you're such an old soul. You've had lots of lives. I haven't. This is not even 5. So they're wrong. And that's the whole part about being a fighter. I'm not going to take other people's garbage anymore. And I don't care if you think that I'm Syrian or you think that I'm Falinian or whatever. I don't care. You don't know what you're talking about. So, and I'm really good at going toe to toe with people because this is why we're in a problem. It started way back with psychics being witches and fearing them, and then we go on these witch hunts, and now Hollywood has turned psychic ability into magical powers. And if it's real, then I have to know the lottery numbers.
I wish.
It's an absolute pile of shit. It's wrong. And, this love and light and how wonderful it is to have such a beautiful gift. Wrong. I find
it's terrifying.
That's not fun. I've seen what people do. So we need to be educated, and running around talking about, oh, you must be this and you must be that. Absolutely. I'm sure it drives you crazy. It drives me crazy, but it actually has to stop. So people do need to be educated. They do need to stop trying to figure out what someone else told them and start thinking to themselves.
Now, follow-up to that is, as a working psychic, and I played that, that's my bread and butter. Me and you talked about that earlier. when I'm working with a client, it is a lot more comforting and much more profitable for me to go, oh, you are an old soul. How would you like other psychics to actually word that so that it's more accurate?
Well, I mean, there needs to be some explanations and some education on what an old soul is and what a new soul is. The understanding is an old soul has lots of lives, therefore they must be very psychic and very connected, and it's wrong. You're more connected the fewer times you've been here. The more times you've done the role of a human, the more set in being a human you are. So, I mean, that's one of the first things to clear up. Okay. Second thing is psychic ability. That's a biggie. Most people can't understand it and they can't explain it. Yet it follows some of the basic laws of science. And that's what I talk about in my workshop.
Okay. And one last question. I've been told by other psychics that I am a very old soul. But my guides have told me that this is actually my first time around the block.
Well, which one do you think is true?
I go with my guides, but...
Girl, that's the right answer.
So, should that be presented more often? If I do see someone who's like, I am psychically inclined, go ahead and say, yeah, you are a young soul, and stop the mythology of the old soul?
Yeah, I mean, if you can give the explanation and back it up, absolutely. If that's what's coming up in the reading and your guides are saying this is what we need to talk about, absolutely. One of the biggest problems is that the books, and you and I talked about this earlier this morning, Skeeter, is that all of these books out there are written from a point of view of this is how it is. And sure, that's how it is for that person. Yeah. It is not how it is for someone else. And then the reader is left going, well, hell, I don't fit into that. There's got to be something wrong with me. I don't see them like that. I don't hear that. I don't feel that. And that's where the biggest problem is. So, and the worst part is, our go-to is to learn from other humans. Skeeter, you've got guides. Listen to them over the human, always.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird because I've always, up until about the age of 21, I always listened to my guides. At the age of 21, I was finally forced to interact with humans. And it actually, that was the first time I tried to kill myself, was trying to get away from humans. Because they just started bombarding me with all this information that completely, I mean, they thought they were calling me crazy because I was listening to these guides and I knew all this history without knowing anything. So it's really hard. I mean, like you were talking earlier, you've got these people coming in with information and so many people don't want to hear it. And then we get these human guides, and there's this natural draw to be part of the pack, part of the society. That's what we're taught. You have to be part of it. How can I help students that I'm helping avoid that trap?
The biggest things that I really push in what I teach, and I say, out into the public what I teach, but everything I've learned is from non-humans. I don't change it. I don't try to make sense of it. I give it the way they give it to me. And then I walk away, and I let the person who's hearing it figure it out for themselves. If they have questions afterwards, happy to answer them. But I need to make sure that each person that I read, and, it's 10,000 plus, they walk away with their own information. They walk away with what works for them, and that's just how it goes. So in terms of educating and what you're supposed to be doing, keep doing what you're doing. Don't fill in the gaps. Psychics have a code of ethics that we should absolutely follow. And one of them is, one, don't lie. Don't fabricate. Don't exaggerate. Hand over what it is you're getting. Keep your personal opinions to yourself. Your client is not paying for your opinion. They're paying for what you get.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to go and tap a stranger on the shoulder and tell them some information. They weren't ready for it. They didn't ask for it. You may think it was great information. They may take it as something entirely different. You know, there is some rules that we do need to follow. And once that starts happening, I think things will improve greatly.
No, that's excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Skeeter and I discussed this in the first hour. I practice walking around closed, because walking around open I found was a little irritating and confusing for me. So I close myself, but I have people every so often will come up to me and they'll literally walk up and stand in front of me, and I'll look at them and I'll say, "Oh, you're an empath." And I can, it's almost like I can, it's not read them, it's like I'm supposed to tell them. And that was one of the things that I was confused on. Like, am I supposed to keep my mouth shut? And it's just what has been determined. It's what I'm supposed to do to some people. And then discuss it with them and turn them around and send them on their way. And that was one of the things. And it came after a while of understanding what an empath was, and now I can pick them out of photographs in a book or on Facebook or in person. I can look at somebody and tell if they're an empath or not. I have no idea how I do it. It's not a word in my head. I can just look at somebody and I see it. And it's like I'm drawn to tell them. Is that a bad thing, Gabrielle?
Yep. Just to tell you point blank. Basically, the responsibility is on you. You need to maybe broach the subject of whether or not they're accepting to hear what it is you are going to say. So, you know, not everybody takes kindly to being tapped on the shoulder and told you're this or you're that. So, if you can find other ways to see if they're willing to listen to what you have to say, that would be the better of the two.
Okay. I always thought I wouldn't say it unless it was time.
Yeah, no, it's really, it really has to do with responsibility. And genuinely, I learned this the hard way. I tapped a guy on the shoulder in the mall once when I was still kind of struggling with a few things. And I told him that it was okay what he was doing, and that, you know, everything was going to work out fine. And he was having an affair on his wife, and I told him everything, and he looked at me like I had just shot him in the stomach, and it was probably one of the worst things I ever did. And then to top it off, it happened again, and it was a girl in a store. I told her that she didn't have to worry about the college that she had applied to. She got in, and that there was going to be lots of boyfriends, and that the one that just broke up with her wasn't the right one, and there was going to be many more. And she handled it very well. She escorted me out of the store nicely and asked me never to come back. Oh, yeah.
That's
maybe
nice.
Find a new way to do that.
Yeah, I've always been afraid to cold read people. That's what I call it, is cold reading without invitation. Even at events, I always offer a free card. First card free. I always tell people first card free when I'm at events. But I don't always ask everyone. And I've been called out by other psychics, why don't you do that? And I'm all, well, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be read. And I've had instances where I've had spirit behind me going, you need to tell them. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I don't read people. I just tell them you're an empath. And if you don't know what that is, you should Google it. Leave a silver bullet and drive off into the sunset.
But she's got a point. You just blah, 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 blah. I swear I speak English.
No, you don't.
If you take the time to figure out if they're ready for it, because there are people who may not be ready for it.
Yeah, I guess. I've never run into somebody yet that wasn't ready, and it's been a couple of years now, but I'm not doing it to everybody. It's like I was carrying my cards with me, and I have no idea why I'd take them. And I'd say, have you ever had your cards read? I'm just curious. And I'd only do that to some people, and everybody I did it to was always thinking that, I was always wanting to do that. And I never had made the time, or I was just thinking about having cards read. So I said, oh, okay. But I don't charge them money for it. I just do it for free. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, we shifted off at the shift a bit, but it was nice to meet you, Gabrielle. And if anybody's looking for her, she'll be in Coquitlam at the Douglas College here in the Lower Mainland of British Columbia on March 2nd, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. for a workshop called Psychic Exposed. And you can get a hold of her anytime at info@Gabrielle. What are you doing? GA. Oh, come on. Spell it GA instead of GIET. But Gabrielle, GIET.com. GabrielleGA.com. Info at that. And also her website, GabrielleGA.com. See what she's all about. We're going to have her back. Probably a few more times, kicking and screaming, because she doesn't live that far from me, and I can probably just go over her house and drag her out. So it's okay. But I want to thank you very much, and thank you, Skeeter.
Of course.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Oh, anytime.
And feel free to come back.
Yeah.
I love your company.
Thank you. I've genuinely had a lot of fun. So. Yeah, whenever you want me back, just talk to Dale.
Go through my screener. Yeah, okay. Thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next week. For what are we going to do? Oh, yeah, 2 mediums and a large next Sunday. And before that, I'm looking through my list here on who else I have on Saturday. Oh, it's going to be a surprise. Good night, everybody. And remember, please keep an open mind.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. And hey! Let's be careful out there.
Far over the snow, what are those voices? They sing and they go. What are those voices? Look over the mountain. Of angry wolves on the trail. We are after you, dead or alive. We are out to get you, dead or alive. And forget your soul. If you're the one, better run away. Son, you are done. Throw your gun away. Here come the Mounties to get the man they're after now.
People. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Dave's not here!
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.